Greetings, this is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com. Today's topic, Israel, Egypt, and European Union sign historic gas deal. This is big news that took place yesterday. We are June 16, 2022. This took place yesterday on June 15th. Scripture reference is out of Deuteronomy 33, verses 18 and 19. And of Zebulun, he said, rejoice, Zebulun, and your going out, and Issachar and your tents. They shall call peoples to their mountain. There they offer right sacrifices. For they draw from the abundance of the seas and the hidden treasures of the sand. So these would be two of the brothers in northern Israel. And lo and behold, look what has been found in northern Israel and out in the Mediterranean Sea. So, quick recap. October 2015, Israel discovered a vast oil deposit in the Golan Heights region north of the Sea of Galilee. Also, the coast of Israel, and this is due west in the northern part of Israel, off the coast of Israel, is home to two tremendous areas of natural gas. The Leviathan oil and gas basin in the Mediterranean Sea is believed to hold 1.7 billion barrels of oil, and the basin also holds an estimated 122 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. And again, this is per Noble Energy and the U.S. Geological Survey. A second oil and natural gas basin is the Tamar, estimated to hold 7.9 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. And today, in June of 2022, a third major basin is emerging, the Karish gas field. It looks like they're going to begin drilling there. I think we reported on this last week, myself and Checkmate, about naval escorts of drilling platform rigs out to the Mediterranean Ocean. Lebanon says it's in their waters. There's really not much of a discussion about it. It's in Israeli waters. And here's the happy group: European Commission, Energy Secretary, President, Egyptian representative, Energy representative, and the Israeli Energy Secretary. Which leads us to today. Israel, Egypt, and the European Union have signed an historic gas deal. The document has gas deliveries to Europe until 2050. Now, there are some specifics. I mean, the real heavy lifting takes place up until 2030, and they gradually phase out the deliveries until 2050. There's all sorts of green implications. I'm not going to spend any time on that, but if you folks want to read those details, for any of you greenies out there, I have links provided. And if you're not a greenie, I have links provided. Read some more specific details. Going to hit the highlights of the plan. Israeli gas will be transported by pipeline to Egypt's liquid natural gas, or LNG, terminal on the Mediterranean Sea. Then, we're just going to move forward with LNG, liquid natural gas, will be transported by ship to Europe. The deal should bring about 1 billion shekels, or $290 million, to the Israeli government coffers. Egyptian Petroleum Minister Tariq el-Molla indicated the agreement should result in more economic cooperation between members of the East Mediterranean Gas Forum, which compromises Jordan, Israel, Cyprus, Greece, Egypt, the Palestinian Authority, France, and Italy. So we'll want to keep a close eye on these countries. And this gets a little complicated when you start looking at who all gets involved in this deal. I mean, now, granted, the primaries are Israel, Egypt, and Europe. But you're going to see there'll be some splinter groups wanting pieces of the action, whether they want to receive natural gas or whether they want to export natural gas or be a facilitator in the process. Europe is obviously dealing with a shortfall of natural gas because of Russian response with their intervention in Ukraine. We're going to cover that a little bit later. But in the meantime, Europe is scrambling for gas, and they now have existing gas deals with Israel, the United States and Qatar. Also, you may hear some people call that Qatar. Qatar also wants to export more natural gas to Europe, and they want a piece of the pie. And Qatar's interesting. Checkmate's talked about this for those of you who aren't familiar with the situation. Qatar also arguably supports some interests in Lebanon, Hezbollah, Iranian proxies. Arguably may help fund some, I guess you would say Shia brand of terrorism, but keep your eye on Qatar because they do have a lot of money. They're one of the largest liquid, just natural gas, LNG exporters in the area, in the region. And this is a quote from Israeli Energy Minister Karine El-Harar. The memorandum of understanding will allow Israel to export Israeli natural gas to Europe for the first time. And it is even more impressive when one looks at the string of significant agreements we have signed in the past year, positioning Israel and the Israeli energy and water economy as a key player in the world. And again, that's Israeli Energy Minister Karine El-Harar. Now, if you want to get more details, click on this link here, timesofisrael.com. Israel, EU, Egypt agree to deal to export natural gas to Europe. More details in that article. Also have a quote here from el-monitor.com. And they are quoting the European Union Energy Commissioner Kadri Simpson. And she said this is a historic day for the EU's energy engagement and energy security. Signing the MOU with Egypt and Israel, two reliable strategic partners, as if Russia is not. We will be able to count on LNG from Israel and the Mediterranean region via the Egyptian LNG infrastructure. And again, that's EU Energy Commissioner Kadri Simpson. And if you want more details from that article, again, please click on the el-monitor.com. Israeli Energy Minister inks deal, export gas, Europe. The European Union receives approximately 40% of its natural gas from Russia. And, the money quote comes from the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. And she states the Kremlin has used our dependency on Russian fossil fuels to blackmail us. Since the beginning of the war, Russia has deliberately cut off its gas supplies to Poland, Bulgaria, and Finland, and Dutch and Danish companies in retaliation for our support to Ukraine. And that's pretty much the gist of it. Russia, Putin, has used energy to blackmail Europe. Again, for more information, check out Middle East Eye. Click on this link as well. And then I'm going to go into this other article in a little more detail, oilprice.com. We're going to click on that here in just a second. But the same day this deal was being inked, Russia, via Gazprom, closed the spigot of natural gas by 15% to Italy on the same day. And they gave no explanation. Italy receives 40% of its gas from Russia. Gazprom also cut delivery of natural gas to Germany by 40%. And they said that the gas line was in need of equipment repairs, allegedly. And as a response, gas prices popped 10% when they reduced Nord Stream supplies to Germany. And just to think how crazy European gas prices exceed $1,200 per 1,000 cubic meters for the first time since May 12. And again, news that Nord Stream is operation at only 40% capacity. So due to equipment repairs. So, and with that note, I do want to click up here to this is from oilprice.com. A couple of things, in response to this article, Europe's gas prices surged 13% as Russia reduces Nord Stream flow. Again, go to oilprice.com. And then not going to go into this article as well. Can Qatar really replace Russia as Germany's gas supplier? So Qatar is getting their fingers in with energy to Italy and now to Germany, as well as the rest of Europe. For you guys who are interested in specifics, got some good data in here. Tuesday, well, we covered that. Italy is already working on sourcing gas from alternative suppliers, including Algeria, Azerbaijan, the DRC, that'd be the Democratic Republic of Congo, Angola, and Qatar. Also in talks with Egypt. Increase gas imports by 3 billion cubic meters per day. Even more capacity, more LNG capacity to Italy. It's going to take up to 2 years to fill in these gaps. But in the meantime, the next 2 winters could be really interesting for folks in Europe. Both Germany and Italy told companies last month they could open ruble accounts. Now, the countries of Germany and Italy will not open ruble accounts because then they would be out of compliance with some of the sanctions they've placed on Russia. But they will allow companies within their country to open up ruble accounts so they can receive natural gas from Russia. Now, of course, Germany and Russia think this is politically motivated. I would tend to agree with that. Russia probably have something different to say. But just to give you a quick idea, what we're looking at here on a map. Natural gas here off the coast of Israel. See the cursor over here in the southeast corner of the map. Transport. Some of that goes by pipeline to Cairo around this way, and some of it, I'm not sure if some of it's undersea. Maybe not. Not sure. And in Cairo, they have LNG terminals convert this gas to liquid, chill it, put it on a ship, send it to Italy, and then also to other parts of Europe. So, why does all this matter? Ezekiel 38, verse 12. This is the reason Magog, led by Gog, the ruler, Gog of Magog, to capture spoil and to seize plunder, to turn your hand against the waste places which are now inhabited, against the people who are gathered from the nations, who have acquired cattle and goods, who live at the center of the world. And they're going in for economic reasons when they go to invade Israel at some point in the future. To turn your hand against the waste places which are now inhabited. And that's the way Israel was for literally up to 20 centuries, at least 20 centuries prior to their return. I mean, Israel was a waste, a ruin, a waste, a desolation, a desert, and against a people who are gathered from the nations. They were scattered in 70 AD, and then from the Balfour Declaration in 1917, the rebirth of a nation, Israel, in 1948, to reclaiming Jerusalem as its capital in 1967, Jews have been returning to their land over the last century to the present day in June of 2022. And they've acquired cattle and goods. Cows from Israel, noted to be some of the most productive in the world when it comes to milk. They go to ridiculous data. I've done this in another post, how they get the most out of a cow. And the links they've gone to, from hydration to food to temperature control, they got it. And these folks live at the center of the world. And this is God's view of the nation Israel. This is where his people live. The geography of the nation is the center of the world. So, big piece of this. And it makes you wonder. I mean, I've always been pretty convinced that the energy piece of this will literally be the hook in the jaw of Magog that brings Magog and all of its hordes south. So, you're looking at Magog, modern day Russia, Turkey, Iran, and all the proxies, the Iranian proxies, the Russian proxies, all the old Caucasus countries that were part of the old Soviet Union, all the stands, not all the stands, but multiple stand countries, that we know south and east of what is of Russia, mostly south. All these countries will get together and decide to invade Israel, and it's for economic reasons. And with this deal, Russia is going to have their economics affected, and Israel's going to cut into their bottom line. And the question is going to be is how long will Russia, and specifically its leader, Gog. Now, am I saying Putin is Gog? No, I'm not. He might be. He might not be. Putin's not in good health, or does not appear to be in good health. But somebody will come in at some point in the future and want to move on Israel for economic reasons. So appreciate you guys taking the time to listen today, and ask you to stay tuned and keep posted. If you're interested, you haven't heard the blog before, you can type in your name here at the email address, hit subscribe. You'll get a notification every time we put something out. Put things out at least 3 to 5 times a week, depending on the news flow of the week. And then also, this is going to be categorized under Ezekiel 38, 39 primarily, also under prophecy, and it's a trend update. So appreciate you guys taking the time to follow. Have a good one. Night.